the WrestleMania 40 Behind the Curtain documentary. Delayed for 3 months at this point.
Yep.
We got it the Wednesday before Money in the Bank. To obviously some mixed reactions, because that's what the internet wrestling community does. They can't be satisfied with anything they get. I know you're like me in this scenario. We're just suckers for behind the scenes stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
And to get anything like what we got, a peek behind the curtain in seemingly real time of how a story developed, I got to give it its flowers, man. It was so good.
Oh, yeah. For a documentary, WWE always knocks it out of the park with their documentaries, and this one was no different. The question that a lot of people have had is the question that I'm probably going to have at the same time.
Fire away. Let's do it.
How much of this was actually true? Because that, to me, like the way they told the story is that Cody went into business for himself, pointed at Roman because he was told that day we were going Roman Rock and not Roman Cody. And so there's just a lot of questions in the air of like, one, and Triple H kind of explained it in the documentary where he was like, Cody was so hot, we couldn't have him just lose the Rumble, this, that, and the other. If you were planning on doing Punk Cody and you weren't planning on doing Roman Cody, or if you're planning on doing Punk Seth and you're not planning on doing Roman Cody, why would you have Cody win?
Right.
Like, that is my question. So I don't know how much of that was true. It also seemed very much like this was all Rock's idea, which I don't know how much of that I kind of believe at the same time, because I called Hunter and I called Ariel and I called, who's the other guy?
Nick Khan.
I called Nick Khan and told them this, that, and the other, and we should do. And so I'm like, yeah, you probably had a hand in it. I just don't know. I just don't know how much of it to believe.
Sure.
Because these documentaries have lied so much before.
Sure.
In a lot of ways, because they also tried to tell us that the whole Daniel Bryan story going into WrestleMania 30 was the plan from the beginning, and it absolutely was not the plan from the beginning.
Right.
So I don't know how much of it I believe, but from a documentary standpoint, all of it behind the scenes stuff was fantastic to see and very interesting to see how it all played out and how much goes into WrestleMania more so than we even realized.
Right.
Which I love that part of it.
A couple of things that we have to really consider here. First of all, I'll say this about The Rock. From what I know about Rock and from the people that I have talked with that have personally interacted with him on a business, professional, and personal level, none of them have had a bad thing to say about Rock. Yeah. That is not to say that Rock doesn't pull his weight around and doesn't try to get his way or what have you. Every smart businessman does that in one way, shape, or form.
Absolutely.
So I don't blame Rock, but I don't think Rock is innocent.
Yeah.
I do think that Rock was extremely instrumental in the character change.
Yes.
But I think that Rock had to be convinced a little more than he's letting on that he had to be convinced.
Yes, I agree.
Because he said it, that they could have trucked on.
Yeah.
And it would have probably worked. Because the majority of the fans that night, when Rock came out on the SmackDown, it was huge.
Yeah, it was.
And Rock talked about, he mentioned their strategy of pulling people in, blah, blah. Listen, Rock versus Roman Reigns would have been an incredible main event.
Absolutely.
One that we've been clamoring for since 2015.
Yep.
But the connection that Cody Rhodes has with the fans, that they were able to take a main event away from The Rock.
Yeah. Like
come on.
And I think...
And I will say this, but before you answer, real quick. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, the man on the screen with Cody Rhodes is Triple H. I think Triple H had a huge hand in convincing Rock and Brian Gewirtz and Nick Khan to stay the course with Cody Rhodes. I think Triple H was huge with that. And that's not to say that there's beef with him and Rock, but I think that his relationship with Rock that goes back so far that respect that's there, I think that helped so much.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, I think Triple H even said it because we said this in the build going up to it. Excuse me, that Rock and Roman probably is one of, if not the biggest WrestleMania main events of all time.
Yes.
Like, there's just no way around it.
Yes.
And any other time, people would have been really behind
They
it.
said in the doc.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it was just, Cody was so hot,
Yep.
so on fire. Again, because you didn't pull the trigger at WrestleMania 39, people were clamoring for WrestleMania 40.
Absolutely.
From the moment that 3 count happened. I think Paul Heyman said it in the doc. As soon as the match was over, everybody was ready for the rematch.
Absolutely.
Everybody wanted the rematch.
Yep.
And to have that almost taken away, I think really is what fueled a lot of the fans. Because again, like we had been speculating for years, like this is the year Rock's coming back. This is the year we're getting Rock Roman. Like this is the year we're excited for it. And yeah, we were excited when he came back. It was just the circumstances were not right.
Sure.
And it gave a lot of people flashbacks to all the whole thing with Punk and him and Cena and just all of that. That's when they trucked through that.
Yep.
And it did not end very well for the fans, like the casual fans. And I'm all for, because me and my wife were watching this together, and we kind of talked about this. I'm all for reaching the casual viewer, especially for WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. Not, though, in the expense of slapping your fan base in the face for just that pop, for just that rating, for just that moment. You can build to this where you're going to have the casual viewer and the weekly viewer hooked if you do it right. And I think the way they pivoted, they did it right. And they've got a lot of people excited for WrestleMania 41.
And no matter what you think about what's true in this doc, what's not true in this doc, the one thing that we can say beyond a shadow of doubt that is true is the genuineness of Cody Rhodes.
Oh, absolutely.
That dude, you saw it in the doc.
Yeah.
Dude wears his emotions on his face, on his sleeve, on his whole body.
Yeah.
Dude, I believe, I'm not saying Cody Rhodes has never lied, because there's the Matt Cardona narrative out there that there's the Cody lies. And
Daniel Bryan said, I'm such a good liar because I've learned from Cody Rhodes.
Exactly.
It's like he's a great professional wrestler because he lies sometimes.
Cody lies.
Yes.
But in this documentary, I think it was 100% fact coming out of Cody Rhodes' mouth.
And, I was sitting there watching this, made me respect, like I already have massive amounts of respect for Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
But sitting there watching this and realizing they were going to take this away from him.
Yeah.
Like if fans did not voice their opinion,
Dave LaGreca.
Honestly, if Dave LaGreca and the Cody Crybabies and all of that did not voice their opinion, Cody would have been sitting the sidelines for WrestleMania, it looked like.
Yeah.
And so,
could you imagine if Cody Rhodes would have not been on the WrestleMania card?
If they would have made him win the Andre the Giant like they did with Bobby.
No. Because the narrative out there was, after he won the Rumble, they were going to do an injury angle and sit him out of WrestleMania. And that's how they get to Rock Roman.
Shoot, my blood pressure just raised a little bit.
that's how they got out of the stipulation of the Rumble winner gets the challenge for the title, is he gets hurt and he's out.
That's really dumb. Wow, I did not know that. I'm glad I didn't know that.
Yeah. There was that. Now, again, don't know if that's true. That wasn't in the documentary, but there's a narrative out there about it.
But it made me feel so, like, the night he announced The Rock, the night he said, I'm going to take that title from you, just not at WrestleMania. That look on his face, I remember we were talking about this on our review of the episode and that weekly show that we did. We talked about, like, was that just a look? Did he, like, that was a genuine,
that was it.
This sucks.
Yep, that was
like,
it.
This sucks. Everything's being taken from me.
And you saw it when the camera followed him back to his bus that night.
And that was really interesting to me, is that Triple H was there, Roman was there, and Rock was there. All backstage in Gorilla.
Not Cody.
Not a single, like, Cody Rhodes was gone.
Yep.
Gone to his bus to just take in everything that just happened.
Yep.
Like, that to me, whoever's idea it was in the first place, that to me is a really bad sign. Like, and I know the pivot was great and everything else, but if that was like Rock's idea to come in and just do that, that's horrible. And like that's a terrible, terrible thing. And I think Nick Khan has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah. I think so.
Like, I think Nick Khan just saw money signs. It was like, this is going to be bigger than Cody, Roman, and everything else, and just put everything kind of beside.
And if you listen to Brian Gewirtz and the way that he tells the story, he said Cody didn't act as happy as we all talked about when we were planning this out.
Oh, yeah.
Which, again,
I don't blame him. Cody
could have said, when they're talking all this out, yeah, I'll, put him over, whatever. Yeah. But that was real emotion that he could not hide.
No.
They came out.
No. And who can blame him at that point?
Exactly.
Like, that was such a Vince McMahon thing to almost happen.
It was, you're right.
That Triple H has set the standard that we expect more from the company now.
Yep.
And that was a Vince McMahon mishap.
Yep.
That almost, like you said, not ruined WrestleMania. I think a lot of people would have been really down on the main event. I think if they would have pushed through with Rock Roman, casual fans would have been happy about it and gone through with it. But me and you would have been like, yeah, it was great, but like Cody was not even on the show. Like, right. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
We talk about Triple H, and we always talk about this era of storytelling that we're in. And I think a lot of the doc that we are, and we'll wrap up on this and get ready to get out of here. Thank you guys for hanging with us. A lot of the doc that we are speculating, is it true or is it not true? I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that this specific story is not over.
Yeah.
So they really can't tell us everything. They can't
show us everything. Yeah.
Because it's not over yet.
Yeah.
Like this, as I mentioned at the top, this was, in theory, real time.
Yeah.
It's not like we're looking back at a show 20 years ago and telling the story. No. There's still a lot of this story to be told. There's still a Cody Rock match, probably. There's a Cody Roman rematch, most likely.
Yeah.
There's a Rock Roman match that's still going to happen.
Solo plays into this now. Yeah.
Seth Rollins, we didn't even talk about the MVP of WrestleMania. Yeah. Seth Rollins, which I don't know about you, but I wish they did a great job of talking about his injury in the doc, but they didn't really tell us why Seth was involved. Did you get that at all?
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, I think in my mind it was because he has a long history with Cody,
and Roman,
but they
didn't say that.
But he respects Cody so much because he beat him 3 times. Who his dad was, all of that.
Sure.
So we got no explanation for that at all.
It's not like it was like, oh, Seth Rollins is his partner. Well, why is Seth Rollins? Yeah. The last time we saw Cody and Seth Rollins together, they hated each other both on screen and behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah.
So, I wish they would have explained that a little more.
Yeah, I do too. So,
I don't know. We shall see. All right. Good stuff. Great documentary. Again, love behind the scenes stuff like that. I'm not ready to say whether it was worth the wait or not. I don't want to use that word.
Yeah.
But it was a great peek behind the curtain, and I love that we got it.
Yeah, I think if they were to release this right after WrestleMania like they had planned, I think a lot of people would have they'd have hook, line, and sinkered a lot of people. That's exactly what happened. The fact that they delayed it and didn't really tell anybody they delayed it. They just didn't drop it. And we were like, where is the doc?
Yep.
Kind of shows us they had to doctor some stuff probably.
Or
how, because I wonder how much of it, how much, especially of Rock's portion, how much of that was interviewed on the road to WrestleMania and how much of that was done post WrestleMania.
Well, I mean, from the trailer that they showed, it all looks the same.
Yeah.
Now, again, you can doctor up, whatever.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not placing blame on Rock. I don't think Rock, because again, there's this narrative that he just came in and he wielded the power.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I really don't.
No.
But
like you said, I also don't think he's innocent at the same time.
I don't think. See, that's the thing, is I don't think anybody's innocent in this whole thing.
No.
There's been, but again, manipulation to protect those involved and to protect the story that's still being told.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think there's still a lot to unpack. We'll look back at this in about 3 years, and hopefully there'll be a part 2 and a part 3, and we'll be able to connect them all together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hopefully.